It was still dark when the knocking started sharp, urgent, like someone punching through the quiet. I remember staring at the ceiling breath caught in my chest before I even reached for the lamp. My name is Nora Vale, and that morning I learned how fast your life can be rewritten without your consent. The clock on my nightstand glowed 5:03 a.m. No one knocks at that hour unless the world is breaking somewhere. My house was cold too, still the kind of silence that makes you wonder whether you woke up or were pulled awake. I slipped out of bed, the hardwood floor biting through my socks, and crept toward the front door. Another knock, harder. I cracked the door just enough to see Ethan Cross, my next-door neighbor. The quiet man who barely waves when he collects packages, standing on my porch. His face looked wrong. Tight jaw, shadows under his eyes, like someone who'd spent all night running from a truth big enough to swallow him.
"Don't go to work today," he said.
No hello, no explanation. Just that sentence, low and tight, like a fuse about to burn down. "Trust me, Nora, stay home, don't step outside. Not for anyone." I almost laughed, because who says something like that? Who shows up before dawn to deliver cryptic warnings unless they've lost their mind? But there was something in his voice, fear and something colder underneath it. Something that made my skin tighten. I wanted to ask questions. I wanted to demand answers. Instead, I nodded just once before he turned and disappeared down the walkway without looking back. And I didn't know it yet, but by noon someone would walk into my office building wearing my face. And I would realize the warning wasn't madness at all. It was war one they thought I wouldn't survive. They were wrong. When the door clicked shut behind him, I stood barefoot in the hallway staring at the space where Ethan had been. The house felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to listen. I should have gone back to bed, but instead, I locked the door and pressed my forehead against it, breathing slow. Instinct spoke louder than logic. I didn't go to work, just sat in the kitchen with an empty mug watching steam vanish. The rational part of me whispered that Ethan was overreacting, but the part that buried my father 6 months ago refused to ignore him. By 7, I texted my manager family emergency. She sent a thumbs up. The quiet pressed heavy like the air before a storm. By 10, I was pacing, flinching at every sound. My phone buzzed with messages I didn't answer. Then an unknown number. "This is Detective Pike, Seattle PD. Are you safe?" The word safe landed wrong. "There's been an incident at your workplace," he said. "Your vehicle arrived at 8:04 a.m. Keycard entry under your name." "That's impossible," I whispered. I wasn't there. Silence. Then Ms. Vale. "Are you alone?" "Yes." "Stay inside. Don't open the door. Officers are on their way." "On?" The line went dead. Ethan's warning echoed. "Don't go to work today. Someone wanted me seen there. Someone wanted the world to believe I was gone." I locked every window, turned off the lights. Someone was impersonating me wearing my face. My father's final words. "Not yet only when you're sure," rang in my head. A shadow crossed the window. Then Ethan's burner phone buzzed. "They're coming early. Don't answer the door." Sirens grew louder. 2 unmarked SUVs stopped outside. A knock. "Nora Vale, Seattle Police." "Open up." I didn't move. A voicemail followed. "Don't open the door. Those units aren't ours." They weren't rescuing me. They were collecting me. Locks rattled. Another voice called from the back, calm, rehearsed. "Ms. Vale, step outside. We can ensure your safety." Safety again. Always safety. I slipped through the laundry room window into the cold air. The house groaned behind me. Crawling along the fence, I spotted Ethan's car idling across the street. "Nora, now." I ran. He yanked me inside and drove off. "Why are they pretending to be police? Because whoever's behind this owns more than badges," he said. "They're not arresting you, they're erasing you." "And you knew." I suspected. Your father did too. Anger surged. "Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed us?" "Maybe not." He pulled into an abandoned warehouse lot and killed the engine. For the next few hours, he said, "You can't trust anyone in uniform. They've already written your death." I met his gaze. "Then I'll rewrite theirs." He nodded once. "Good. This is where you fight back." Inside the warehouse smelled of rust and dust time thick in the air. Ethan worked quietly, laptop cables, a leather notebook, while I steadied my breath. "When did you know?" I asked. "When your father hired me," he said. 2 years ago. He thought someone in his company was watching him. He'd uncovered something far bigger. My throat tightened. "Then why didn't he warn me?" "He did. You just didn't realize it." I remembered the hospital hallway, the flash drive pressed into my hand. "Not yet. Only when you're sure." Ethan's screen glowed with encrypted files. "Your father found a data pipeline, biomedical patterns stolen under the guise of compliance audits. Helixin Systems and Cascade Meridian were feeding it. They build genetic leverage, not defense. He tried to stop it. They stopped him instead," Ethan said. "You were their clean exit, smart, credible, easy to frame. Easier to erase you than expose the system." I gripped the edge of a crate, anger burning clean. "Then we don't stay quiet." He slid the leather notebook toward me. My father's handwriting filled the pages. Names, dates, connections. In the middle, one line caught my breath, N. "Veil is safer in truth than silence." I pressed the page to my chest, grief and fury blurring together. "No courts yet," Ethan warned. "You enter the system now, you don't come back out." "I'm not walking anywhere," I said. "I'm hunting." He didn't smile, but approval flickered in his eyes. "Then here's the next step." Outside, sirens wailed, distant now. I wasn't the one being chased anymore. Not now. Now I was choosing the battlefield. Ethan slid a matte black device across the table. "Encrypted relay. One way. No trace. This is where we bait them." "Bait them how?" "By letting them think you're scared enough to negotiate." The words stung, negotiate, like my father's death was a bargaining chip. "No begging," I said. "If they want me silent, they'll have to choke on my voice first." He nodded. "Then let them believe you're cornered. Use their arrogance." On screen, a draft message blinked, short, shaky, desperate. "I know what this is. I just want to walk away. Tell me what you need from me." "Send it," I said. He did. The message vanished into air ghost communication for ghost hunters. Minutes dragged. Dust swirled through a beam of light cutting across the warehouse floor. Then my phone buzzed. "Unknown sender. Audio file." Ethan motioned to play it. A voice spilled through, smooth and deliberate. "Nora, we can resolve this cleanly. There's a process. Meet us. Mara Voss." I knew that voice from company town halls, all polish and control. Hearing it raw made my stomach turn. "If you don't comply," she continued, "we'll ensure a narrative that protects national stability. One you won't be able to challenge." I paused, the file pulse hammering. "They really think they own the story." "They do," Ethan said, until someone takes the mic away. He started typing. "There's someone who can help." A name appeared, Priya Shah, investigative journalist, Truth on Legs. "You're calling her now." "Not yet. First you decide, private or public." "I'm not hiding," I said. "They buried my father in shadows. I'm not joining him." Relief flickered across his face. He sent one message. "I have a whistleblower. High risk. High proof." Then he closed the laptop. "We're moving." Outside, sunlight broke through thin clouds, turning the wet street to silver. A truck rumbled past. For a moment, I pictured the morning I was supposed to have coffee emails, another woman wearing my face at my desk. That version of me disappeared. This one wasn't going anywhere but forward. At the car, my phone buzzed again. No caller ID. Coordinates, 3:00 p.m. Come alone, or the story ends with you. "They want a meeting," I said. "They want a capture," Ethan replied. "They think you're desperate." Fear cooled into focus. "They think I'll show up terrified." He met my eyes. "So what do we do?" I steadied my voice. "We show up prepared, because they didn't need to fear the woman they invented, they needed to fear the one who survived." So, the coordinates led to the waterfront, an old freight yard near the pier, shipping containers, stacked like metal tombstones under a washed-out Seattle sky. Wind off the sound whipped my hair as Ethan parked 2 blocks away. "This is where they test you," he said. "Not your fear, your obedience." I zipped my jacket and stepped out. The gulls screamed overhead as the world seemed to narrow frame, tightening around me. 2 black SUVs idled beside the container's engines, humming a silent claim of ownership. I tasted metal at the back of my throat. Focus. A woman emerged from one SUV coat, immaculate. Mara Voss. She looked more CEO than conspirator authority shaped into elegance. Nora, she greeted smoothly. You made the right choice coming. I stayed silent. Her faint smile said she liked resistance. There's been a misalignment in perception, she continued. We can correct the record quietly. You mean bury me quietly? Sometimes the greater good requires discretion. 2 men lingered behind her, motionless but ready. My pulse steadied. I pulled the flash drive from my pocket, the one my father gave me. You know what this is. Her smile flickered. A sentimental token, nothing more. You should work on lying, I said. Your vowels tighten when you're nervous. Her composure stiffened. You don't want to escalate this. No, I said evenly. I want to finish it. A soft click came from a nearby container. Then another behind me. Shadows moved, cameras glinting, Priya Shah's videographers, body cams recording, hands raised. Not a threat. Evidence. Mara went perfectly still. You think cameras protect you? No, I said. Truth does. I tapped my phone. Detective Pike and the Attorney General already have your voicemail. If anything happens to me, this goes public. Footsteps approached. Pike appeared at the edge of the yard, badge low, expression unreadable. A witness, not a rescuer. Mara's voice dropped. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm not playing, I said. I'm just turning on the lights. Her mask cracked barely. Her men shifted, waiting for an order she could no longer give. You think this ends here? She hissed. No, I said. This is where it starts hurting for you. I stepped back so the cameras caught everything. Her face, her people, the SUVs. The balance shifted. Not because I was stronger, but because I refused to disappear. Ethan touched my elbow. Time to go. I turned from her, wind rising, salt stinging my lips. Revenge didn't roar. It walked away calmly while the guilty choked on silence. And in that silence, I finally heard my father's voice. Truth protects better than fear. I didn't look back. They were the ones who had to watch me leave. We didn't speak until we were back in the car. The heater hummed softly, fogging the windows until the world outside felt far away. I stared at my hands, trembling not from fear but from the adrenaline ebbing out. Ethan didn't push. He just waited, eyes forward, calm, as if we hadn't just faced people who erase problems for a living. Finally, I exhaled, a decade of breath released. She looked surprised, I said. People used to control don't know what to do when someone takes it back, he replied. Break. That word lingered. The world had tried to shatter me, erase my name, rewrite my father's love into someone else's lie. But I hadn't broken. I'd sharpened. Outside, the sound shimmered in fading light. Fairies moved like ghosts, while strangers sipped cocoa. Walked dogs lived unaware that I could have vanished before lunch. The thought didn't scare me now. It fueled me. When she asked if I thought cameras protect me, I said quietly, I realized she wasn't afraid of exposure. She was afraid of losing authorship. Ethan nodded. Power doesn't fear guilt. It fears recognition. My father's voice echoed, warm, steady, believing truth was duty, not luxury. He hadn't lived to see it fight back. But I would. A buzz from my phone, a voicemail from Detective Pike. We're opening an inquiry. Stay safe. Safe. A word still under reconstruction. I ignored the text, opened my recorder, and hit new entry. My name is Nora Vale, I said, voice steady. And I did not disappear today. Ethan gave a faint nod. I kept speaking not to recount events, but to reclaim them. To stake my name where they tried to erase it. When I stopped, the air felt lighter. Where now? He asked. I tightened my grip on the flash drive. Now they get to wake up to the unexpected. They thought ending me would be quiet, I said. They forgot some stories, fight back louder. Outside streetlights blinked on one by one as if clearing the path ahead. I wasn't surviving anymore. I wasn't hiding. I was beginning. And somewhere across the city, Mara Voss was realizing the truth. She hadn't buried me, she'd unearthed me, and I was coming back with proof.